Nou goed, dat zijn een paar startelementen. We wachten op het einde van de uitzending. Dat is voor,
misschien kunnen jullie vast beginnen. Jullie hebben natuurlijk gisteren de uitzending gezien. You watched the episode yesterday. And maybe you can talk a bit about it. What you thought of the program.
Okay. Well, let's start with the sea because that's what it was about.
About the sea.
First we'll show the Twitter viewers who are at this Twitter party in what circumstances we are sailing at the moment at the Pacific. Look at that. What do you see, Redmond?
Well, I'm not at all sure. It's so long since I saw anything like this. It might be rain. It might be mist.
We haven't seen rain since, I don't know, England, something?
No, but it has been a long time.
When do you remember last time?
It was rain and like snow in the south of Chile. Then we had rain and snow.
Snow.
Yeah, but also a little bit wet, something wet from the sky.
Okay.
And then it was just sunny up till today. So I think for 4 or 5 weeks we didn't really have rain
At all. But we've got a big problem to talk about, haven't we? National parks versus poverty. It's worst in Africa, but here there was a case that we could have talked about, with Tompkins owning vast amounts of Chile and a large slice of Argentina. And in the program I thought it looked as if they were simply on the side of the rich, and they were opposed to Chiloé, where the poor people were, and they'd all lost their jobs in the salmon farm where the virus had arrived. But actually it wasn't like that. Tompkins had 14 model farms they'd set up, incredibly impressive I think, and brought in entirely new industries, but run as if it was the very best beekeeping business in Switzerland, say. And wonderful jams, big production, but not industrialized. Lots and lots of people employed. That didn't come over.
No, we had in the program no time to spend much time on their farms. It was an incredible area where they were living, and the only means of transportation they had that looks like very luxurious, and it is, an airplane. They had 8 airplanes to be
14.
14?
Yeah, but with each farm.
But then
there's no other way to get in.
They live all scattered over this huge part of South Chile, and there are no roads. So the only way for them to get home or to go to the other farm is to fly. So we met this, in that sense, strange couple that looked, let's say, incredibly, well, they are probably incredibly rich, and still they had a way of thinking that reminded me more of political activists.
Yes, I like the little story just in brackets of how he made his money. An amateur, impassioned mountaineer. Now there's no money at all in that, you think, but he realised that the kit, the clothes he had to wear to climb these mountains were useless. So he designed his own. Yeah. Bang, and then came North Face, and then he didn't just climb mountains, now he buys them. He's got so many mountains that he couldn't climb them all in 100 years.
And
there's a question about if all this rain, if it's good for the ship.
Yeah.
Or if the wood is going to bend because of all the water.
No, actually, just before we started filming here, I asked some of the people on board whether they liked the rain, and they said it really cleans the ship with sweet water. Usually it's day in, day out, it's salt water getting over the ship, and that's always rather bad for the wood. And we've noticed during our Beagle trip so far that this whole ship has been repainted at least, twice?
Twice a year, they told me.
Twice a year, so there's always somebody here painting on the ship. And that's mainly because of the weather influences on the wood. So for them, the streaming clear water is...
Yeah, this is good, but it's a good question, because if this was just one piece of wood, or
deck,
just a few...
The deck is,
the deck, it would splinter and bend in the heat, and then in the extreme cold. But that's why you've got all this corking between the...
But the body of
narrow
the
plankings
is not from wood, so that's
no, I know.
A good,
but we like to think
thing.
it is. As the bosun told me, he said, "Well, look, I was there helped make the ship, and it's all steel. Everything else is wallpaper. I didn't like that at all. All the beautiful, beautiful wood of the brass. He says it's just decoration, but all right.
It's not really necessary to sail this ship, but it's nice to look at.
Yeah.
Maybe it's good to explain what we're doing here. That we're live on the webcam obviously, but people can ask questions. Mensen kunnen vragen stellen via Twitter. Als je gebruikt hekje vpro BGL, dus vpro Beagle, dan zien we je vragen voorbij komen en dan kunnen we ze beantwoorden. Dus ga naar Twitter, vpro BGL, en dan kun je je vragen stellen.
En ene Harry, je mag ook gewoon weer vragen stellen hoor. Dat doe je altijd. Dus kom maar op.
I've got a question here. Somebody says it's Delta 123. He twitters the Chilean farmer had a good point of view. We are all not able to live in our world, to manage our world. It's a big observation, but maybe but it's a really Christian Calvinistic view of life. We are, as they say, I have to think of that Calvinistic line again. We zijn onbekwaam tot enig goeds. We're not able to do anything well. It's a very
leave it to God. This fantasy, your imaginary friend. That's the answer. But I think the only possible answer is to cut the population by half. And as I said before, I would make all kinds of government breaks for homosexuals. That's what we need. Lots and lots of them. So they get free schools. Sort of gradually cut the population down. Quite rightly, you're not taking it seriously.
Well, I'm trying to take it seriously. Any questions?
Waar varen we momenteel? Is een vraag van Hazeleger.
Where are we sailing at the moment? Do you know, Redmond?
Damned if I know, Captain.
You know,
they've got strips over all the GPS stuff up there. They come out with these funny little sextant things.
We are sailing blind, no technological equipment. We are doing pure on sextant and I don't know the English word for bestek. So they're drawing it in the maps, and we are, as we know, about 450 miles northeast of Tahiti. Dead reckoning is the word.
I have one question for, I think Lex, you can answer this one because you talked a lot to the Tompkins. Why didn't Tompkins pursue a more environmental friendly clothing brand instead of selling it? It seems harder but more rewarding. So why did they sell it instead of making it more environmentally friendly?
They explained to me that they really didn't believe any longer in the system they were working in. They could not. Already their companies were well known for contributing money for all environmental type activities. And even today, I understand that companies like Patagonia and North Face that are involved are still, in a way, also giving money out to help change the world. But they thought it was not enough. It was not. They couldn't do it that way. The only thing they really wanted to go into the tradition of the Rockefellers in the United States, of people. What's the word? Weldoeners. Philanthropists. And try to grab the lands, change them for the better, and return them to the local governments, Chile, Argentina, on one condition: that it will stay national park forever. If the governments of Chile or Argentina want to make roads on these pieces of land or do anything else with it, they are obliged to return it. So it was more or less a political activity.
I'd just like to make a little announcement. We have here a potential Nobel Prize winner, a great man called Henk Rowling, and I'd just like to change places and you can ask him anything about the workings of the cell. He knows more about DNA than anybody else on Earth.
Cell and DNA, we're going to go away.
There are more questions in the meantime. Yeah.
Oh, first we have to introduce Henk. First we have to introduce. Now I'm like wethouder hacking.